Here I am in the Hutchins Gallery having a retrospective of my artwork. The title, Life Dance, for the show comes from a painting of a woman dancing in a field of blues and purples and magentas. Those are some of my favorite colors, and I keep returning to the motif of the dancer. It's really important to me. You think about dancing and it has control, it has letting go, it has discipline and rigor, but then there's the explosion of spontaneity when the dancer bursts his or her body out into space. And I just love what happens with the human form when someone is dancing, so I keep using the dancer as a repeated subject and image in my work. I like working in a variety of media. I also work with paper. I make handmade paper. I go to the Dudonnet Gallery in New York and make large pieces, and then I make smaller ones here in my studio at home. I've been expanding out and thinking about working three-dimensionally. So I made some bowls out of handmade paper, pressed the pulp around a form, and then I also have been working with books, altering books, and making sculptures out of books. The whole concept of recycling and repurposing and reusing really appeals to me. And so I have been taking books that are no longer in use, the library discards them, and folding and painting in them and recreating them into a piece of art. I'm not sure what direction I'm going with it, but it's very, very interesting to me. The process is really interesting. Right now I'm working in clay monoprints. You work on a bed, or I work on a bed of wet clay and build up layers of texture with liquid slip and pure pigment. My daughters are my two greatest works of art. My daughters Lisa and Karen, and have inspired me through the years to make art. My family is a very important part of my life and my art in terms of inspiring me and for making me grateful for all the gifts that they give me. The process of my art is when I become completely immersed in what I'm doing. I go to my studio and it's just me and the paint and whatever's going on that day, because every day has a painting, every day has a drawing, and I just start working, and in the process of working I get in touch with who I am inside and try to somehow reveal that on the paper, in the paper making, in the print making, whatever I happen to be doing. I mean, I guess that's true also when I'm teaching, that I also am trying to get in touch with who I am and share that with another artist. Paintings behind me were from a time when I was studying in Binghamton in graduate school with Philip Pearlstein and Fletcher Martin, and I was painting the female figure a lot, working from models, drawing with charcoal and then using acrylic paint. I've always liked the female figure. I've always liked women as a subject and as mentors, as inspiration. I've always loved to draw, and I believe that every day has a drawing. I love to experiment with media, and I've evolved over time, always playing, experimenting, trying different things, studying, learning, being inspired by going to shows and galleries in New York. The portrait of me and my daughters was done after I returned from Argentina, and I was living and working at Marist College, living in LaGrangeville, and it's about that mothering is such an inspiration for my art. Mother and child, you know, the feeling that I get when I think about my own children and who they are. The Wisdom Keeper was done recently in honor of my mentor, Jeanette Wolfe, and all that she has taught me, and I've learned so much about living and art from her. At the opening of this show, it was very special. My daughter Elisa came from Brooklyn. There were so many friends. My husband was here. I just felt very celebrated. I loved listening to the people's comments about my work, and I loved their questions about my process. And I showed how I make the clay monoprints. It was a very, very special evening. Here I am in my studio. I love being here. I love coming here. It's in downtown Princeton, right in the middle of all the hubbub and all the people walking on the street on Witherspoon Street, right above Small World Coffee. And I really like being here to work. When I was very, very little, I loved to paint and draw. I loved color. I loved to cut and paste. And I loved looking out the window at the man who used to send pigeons off and put little notes on their feet and then take them off when they came back. I liked observing and looking. I love being a teacher, now a retired teacher, but doing private classes with adults and group classes at the West Windsor Art Center. I love the interaction of what happens when you give a project to 31 different people and they all come up with different solutions. I love the energy of the classroom. I love the synergy of a group of people getting together and making art. I really enjoy sharing. I will continue painting and drawing and printmaking, and I'll continue teaching. I'd like to travel. I'm not sure what form that will take, maybe even with my grandchildren. I love being with my grandchildren and making art with my grandchildren. So I work very intuitively. I start with where I am at that moment in time, that day, that minute. And I also always am focusing on the process. So it's not about the product, it's not about the end result. It's about what I'm doing and trying to communicate my, I guess, essence.